I love it. I feel like an '80s sitcom with that opening. Don't know why, but I do. It is still, July 11th, and I will not get tired. I'm going to continue to run this into the ground. Go to 7-Eleven, get yourself a Slurpee. It's an unofficial national holiday. I hope you all had a great day and, didn't wilt in the humidity or, in the rain or anything else because the weather is all of I think Mother Nature's having a bit of the perimenopause too, if you ask me, but I'm not a weatherologist, so that's my unofficial diagnosis. And in our first story, sadly, the Shining actress Shelley Duvall has passed away at 75. Um, I more remember Shelley Duvall from these kind of quirky sort of fairy tales that she used to do. I think Sherry Duvall presents fairy tales or something. It was a thing. It was a thing. I I'm pretty sure. Shelley Duvall, the actress best known for The Shining, has died and she was 75. Duvall died in her sleep from complications from diabetes at her home in Texas, according to her longtime partner, Breakfast Club musician Dan Gilcroy. My dear, sweet, wonderful life partner and friend left us. Too much suffering lately. Now she's free. Fly away, beautiful Shelley. Gilroy, 77, said to The Hollywood Reporter Thursday. Duvall was born and raised in Texas. In 1970, she met director Robert Altman at a party, and he asked if she would be in his movie Brewster McCloud, which marked her first online role. I simply got on a plane and did it. I was swept away, she said in a past interview. I mean, she was really she had such big old eyes and such an interesting face, and she was so beautiful, you know, at least to me, she was. And how can I be mad at her? She has a blossom hat and a scrunchie. She is in fact 90s lady here. Duvall went to star in more of Altman's movies, including McCabe and Miss Miller, The Thieves Like Us, Nashville, Buffalo Bill and the Indians, or Sitting Bull's History Lesson, and Three Women. She talked about collaborating with Altman, who died in 2006, in an interview with the New York Times in 1977. Quote, he offers me damn good roles. None of them have been alike. He has great confidence in me and trust and respect for me, and he doesn't put any restrictions on me or intimidate me. I love him. The same could not be said of Stanley Kubrick, who apparently, you know, scarred this poor woman for freaking life because he was Stanley Kubrick. Honestly, the man that gave us the Kubrick stare, I don't think I would have wanted to work with him either. Duvall was also in 1977's Annie Hall, directed by Woody Allen. Her biggest role was in Stanley Kubrick's 1980 psychological horror film The Shining. Duvall played Wendy Torrance, who was tormented by her husband Jack and the director again. She had a daggone nervous breakdown. Jack loses his mind as the couple and their son Danny stay at an isolated hotel in Colorado. She told People in 1981 that she was crying 12 hours a day for weeks on end when making the movie. I will never give that much again. If you want to get into that pain and call it art, go ahead, but not with me, Duvall said. Holy cow. Um, She opened up about the more difficult filming experience to The Hollywood Reporter in 2021 after Kubrick had left this mortal coil. She didn't want this getting back to Kubrick. Quote, Kubrick doesn't print anything until at least the 35th take. 35 takes, running and crying and carrying a little boy. It gets hard, she said. And full performance from first rehearsal. That's difficult. She said before filming scenes, she would listen to sad songs. Or you just think about something very sad in your life and how much you miss your family or friends. But after a while, your body rebels, Duval added. It says, stop doing this to me. I don't want to cry every day. And sometimes just the thought alone would make me cry. To wake up on a Monday morning so early and realize you had to cry all day because it was scheduled, I would just start crying. I'd be like, "Oh, no, I can't," and yet I did. I don't know how I did. Jack said that to me too. He said, "I don't know how you do it." I'm just gonna say general hysteria and fear. Following The Shiny, Duvall appeared in Popeye, Time Bandits, and Suburban Commando, The Portrait of a Lady, and more. She also produced and created various children's shows. Y'all, I'm just proud that I didn't make this whole Shelley Duvall children's show thing up because I was like, "I'm pretty sure I remember that, but it could also be a fever dream," which earned her 2 Emmy Award nominations. Duvall retired from acting in 2002 after starring in Manna from Heaven, but then returned to the big screen for the 2023 indie horror movie, The Forest Hills, which marked her final acting role. In 2016, Duvall revealed that her mental health struggles or that she had mental health struggles on an episode of Dr. Phil, declaring, "I'm very sick, I need help." During her appearance, Duvall claimed that her Popeye co-star, Robin Williams, who had passed away in 2014, was still alive as a shapeshifter. She also claimed that there was a worrying disc inside her. Uh, Gilroy initially didn't know that she had participated in a Dr. Phil interview. It did nothing for her, he told the New York Times. It just put her on the map as an oddity. He added, things went downhill when she started becoming afraid of things. Maybe didn't want to work. It was really hard to put a pin on any one thing. Duvall briefly spoke about the sit down to The Hollywood Reporter in 2021. I found out what kind of person he, Phil McGraw, is the hard way. My mother didn't like him either. A lot of people, like Dan, said you shouldn't have done that, Shelley, she said. A spokesperson for the Dr. Phil show released a statement to the outlet in response. We view every Dr. Phil episode, including Miss Duvall and her struggle with mental illness, as an opportunity to share relatable, useful information and perspective with our audiences. We don't attach the stigma associated with mental illness, which many do. With no one else offering help, our goal was to document the struggle and bring amazing resources to change her trajectory, as we have done for so many over the 19 years of the show. Unfortunately, she declined our initial offer for inpatient treatment that would have included full psychiatric and mental health evaluations, giving her a chance to privately manage her challenges. After many months of follow up in collaboration with her mother, she ultimately refused assistance. We were, of course, very disappointed, but those offers for help remain open today. In the same 2021 New York Times interview, Duvall looked back on her career and her decision to walk away from acting. I was a star. I had leading roles, she told the publication. People think it's just aging, but it's not. It's oh, it's violence. How do you feel if people were really nice, then suddenly on a dime turn on you? You would never believe it unless it happens to you. That's why you get hurt, because you really can't believe it's true. Duvall was married to artist Bernard Sampson from 1970 to 1974, and she was in a 2-year relationship with singer Paul Simon. They broke up before Duvall started dating Gilroy in 1989. Duvall did not have any children. So it is really sad. I think that, repeatedly maybe having to access a lot of dark emotions might not have been the greatest for her. But I didn't watch the Dr. Phil episode. I don't watch many Dr. Phil episodes. The guy kind of irritates the snot out of me for some reason. But if she was struggling so much with her mental health, at least now I believe that she's in a place where she doesn't have to worry about those things anymore, where all the pain and suffering that she felt in this life is behind her. So, you know what? Miss Duval, thank you for making wonderful children's shows that, were really fun to watch when I was a kid. I never watched The Shining. I'm sorry. So I'm sorry you suffered, but I liked you in Popeye, which I'm sure is probably, you know, not your most famous thing, but it was one of the more famous things that I remember you from. So thank you for Popeye. In What the Actual Wood Chipper, Lord Chippy, we will need all our technicians currently in charge with a nuclear power plant attached to Lord Chippy to, get to your stations and start those engines, please, because we have this story. Quote, "Can I get in the car? 3-year-old boy rescued from the middle of the street by couple after mom allegedly left him at a park to teach him a lesson. A 3-year-old. Lord Chippy, we have an attendant." A Georgia husband and wife out driving on July 2nd said they were stunned to see a 3-year-old running in the street by himself in danger of being hit by a car after 10 p.m. So they stopped, rescued the boy, and took him to a nearby gas station and called 911. Now the child's mother is accused of a crime for the way she allegedly tried to teach her son a quote unquote lesson. The Gwinnett County Police Department has alleged that Gabrielle Josephine Buckley, a 28-year-old from Decatur, recklessly left her son by himself at DeShlong. Okay, this can't be a real park name. Is there really a park in Georgia named DeShlong? Because y'all, I will show you right here because I am not making this up. I I am not mature enough to deal with this park name. So we're gonna continue right on so we can get to the serious parts of the story. In the Stone Mountain, as a disciplinary tactic for being, quote, unruly all day, end quote, and then did not call police to report her son missing for more than a full half hour. According to a police report obtained by Law and Crime, the defendant, quote, advised that her son was missing since they could not find him, but documents say that was because Michelle and Will Mosley had already rescued the 3-year-old boy. Oh, well, that's cool. Bubble grit. Local ABC affiliate WSB TV interviewed the shocked husband and wife, uh, and they said they saw the boy running in the street near the park and brought him to safety, fearing that he would have been hit. I stopped in the middle of the road, turned on flashers, and said, "Michelle, that's a baby," Will Mosley said in an on camera interview, calling the whole situation cruel. So these are the sweet people that stopped and saved this baby, saved this child. The police report said Buckley, quote, advised that her son had been unruly all day due to being disruptive, trying to fight her and spitting on her, so she came to the park to teach him a lesson to give him a form of discipline, a strategy that allegedly involved abandoning him at a picnic table and driving in her boyfriend's car to the other end of the park to scare her son. Buckley advised that it was less than 1 minute when they returned to the area her son was left and he was gone. So she and her boyfriend began to look for him, but could not locate him during this time. Okay, so she left her son at the park at in the dark because according to her, she only left for like, just a quick hot minute. So you left him there at 55? I mean, now call me crazy, but I have raised a couple 3-year-olds, and, they go to bed much earlier than 10 PM, at least in my household, but y'all know I'm an early to rise kinda person, so maybe if you're a night owl, you let your 3-year-old stay up until 10 o'clock. I don't know. The police report continued. It was about 38 minutes between the time she said, she couldn't find, the child. So he was reported, found by the witnesses. And then Miss Buckley called the police to report her son missing. So not only did she, not call immediately after she had lost him, but she didn't call until 38 minutes approximately after the child had been found. To be fair, it's different times for different families. I'm just thinking I'm a sleepy sleeper person too. 'Cause so I'm like 9 o'clock, I'm out unless I'm on the stream with Shizzy. Buckley's boyfriend, identified as Lawrence Dozier Joubert, was also accused of reckless conduct and placed in handcuffs, but authorities said a combination of factors led him to be let go in the short term and face an active warrant instead. Okay, you let him go but had have an active warrant? Is this a Georgia thing? Two other officers on the scene had to leave since they were going to assist other officers on a high priority call, a robbery and police pursuit. So the decision was made to unarrest Mr. Dozer Jobert so he could take possession of the vehicle, dog, and child, documents said. Miss Buckley agreed to let Mr. Dozier Jobert take custody of her child so he could take her child to her brother. Cops said that after he was out of handcuffs, informed of a warrant to be, he agreed to turn himself in later. According to, the boyfriend's version of events, he and his girlfriend left the 3-year-old at the park in the dark to teach him a lesson. He explained that he and Miss Buckley left her son by himself at a picnic table while it was dark with no lights and pretended to leave the park so he would learn his lesson that if he acted bad, he was going to get left in the park. All right, I'm going to need these two absolute geniuses in. I'm going to need to these absolute geniuses to explain to me how a 3-year-old is supposed to comprehend the cause and effect of being bad and being abandoned. You may have just screwed this child up for the rest of his life because you did this absolute shenanigans. I mean, did you did you read the wrong book? Did you read like Dr. Kevorkian instead of, Dr. Spock? They're two very different doctors, ma'am, and I think you confused it. I mean, again, 3-year-olds are 3-year-olds. I don't I didn't think I'd need to explain this to a fellow mother, but let me break it down to you. For the first almost 2 years of your child's life, you do nearly everything that they demand. I mean, they cry, they're demanding food or being taken care of. The world genuinely revolves around them in your family. So, around 3 is when you have to start, explaining that no, no, the world doesn't revolve around you, but it's easy to understand how 3-year-olds would be a bit confused about this concept because for their entire life, things have revolved around them. So you're gonna have, some behavior. You're gonna have, you know, the frontal cortex, that little control bit isn't there. So they have to learn things, they have to learn boundaries, and you're supposed to be that kind, gentle boundary maker, not, "Oh, well, we're gonna sell you to, a traveling circus," and then actually go to daggone circus. I mean good lord. Let's see here. So, body cam footage released by the police showed the 3-year-old in the backseat of the Mosley's car after the couple brought the boy to the gas station. He was running that way in the dark. I almost hit him. No adults around. So I stopped in the middle of the road and he said, "Can I get in the car? Can I get in the car?" And I said, "Yeah, get in the car, get in the car." Will Mosley said in the footage, "We came up here and called 911." The responding officer said, "Good job." "I don't know where to take him. I don't know where he ran off from," Mosley added. That's when the officer on the scene started talking with the boy and asked him if he knew where he lived. The child did mention getting upset when his mother damaged his toys and stated he was scared being in the streets by himself. According to the police report, the child could not tell me where he lived. It would be very shocking if a 3-year-old could tell you his address. I mean, there are some kids who can do it, but I haven't known a 3-year-old. Gwinnett County court records reviewed by Law and Crime showed that Buckley was issued a $2,500 bond. 2005 Georgia, I'm about ready to send the entire Georgia judicial system to Mars. Y'all are about as useful as tits on a bull. I swear to Jeebus. I mean, Mo's a little cranky this evening. In misdemeanor reckless conduct case for allegedly endangering the bodily safety of another person by consciously disregarding a substantial and unjustified risk that his or her act or omission will cause harm or endanger the safety of another person and disregarded the or disregard constitutes a gross deviation from standards of care which a reasonable person would exercise in this situation. Buckley has been released, I'm sure to pick up her Mother of the Year award from Cruella de Vil. Or what was the name of okay, The Rescuers, what was the name of the swamp lady that stole the little girl and made her try to go down in the mine? Because that's what level of mom this chick is. I can't, y'all. In another, well, thanks to the justice system being as useful as, a fart air freshener, we have another story that irritates me. Sorry, guys. I find these stories, they are unfortunately sad, but also, you know, they are our court system, and this is the news. A nursing student, 22, was found um, assaulted to death days after a judge released manic boyfriend who had laid hands on her 100 times during December. Uh, Kidnapping incident, according to his or to the deceased nursing student's father. So, let's give everyone a chance, let's make sure we aren't, mean to someone who is absolutely, out of control. A 22-year-old college student from Mississippi who was found basically beaten to death and wrapped in a sheet in the backseat of her car last week, days after her father warned a judge that if her boyfriend was let out of jail, he would unalive her. Lauren Johnson's body was discovered mutilated and wrapped in trash bags and a sheet on July 3rd in Wolf River Cemetery in Harrison County, news station WLOX reported. Her father said that the man charged in her unaliving this particular dumpster water human being allegedly boyfriend Bryson River had just bonded out of jail days earlier after he was held for aggravated kidnapping and for, brutally assaulting her, holding her hostage in December on a trip to Nashville. Quote, "You can see what happened when he hit her 100 times back in December, so imagine what he did to her when no one was around to save her," her father, Lance Johnson, told the Daily Mail. Quote, "I sat in the courtroom in Nashville and told the judge that if they let him out, he was going to unalive her," the slain student's father, Lance Johnson, told WLOX. He had assaulted her. This was probably the fifth or sixth time where they would get into a fight and he would lay hands on her. Rivers, 23, faces a murder charge and is being held on a $1 million bond. And this is the person he stole away from the world. So this is just the most aggravating thing in the entire world. You had someone warn that this was going to happen, and maybe it's a statutory thing that the judge couldn't keep him in, but doggone it, it's irritating. He was arrested last Thursday, July 4th, following a 6-hour manhunt, NOLA.com reported. Lauren Johnson, who is originally from Gulfport, was attending the University of Southern Mississippi to get a nursing degree, said her father, who is an orthopedic surgeon. The 22-year-old was first reported missing early July 2nd when her sister woke up alone in their shared Hattiesburg apartment with the front door wide open and their security camera smashed. That same morning, her father woke up to a notification that her Life 360, a location tracking app, had been turned off. He reported her missing to the Hattiesburg Police Department, and the next day, officers informed him that they had located her car in a nearby cemetery. Quote, "I knew she was dead," Lance Johnson told the local television station, detailing how she was found wrapped in trash bags and in the backseat of her car. Quote, "She was basically, assaulted to death." Uh, he gets more graphic with how that, but imagine it was awful. Uh, he continued, "I helped the coroner lift her body out of the car. It was just beyond recognition." The heartbroken father slammed the criminal justice system in Tennessee for failing his family, saying that Rivers' bond should have never been reduced. Rivers, who was initially held on $251,000 bond, had his bond lowered to $150,000 after he had been in jail for 7 months. In the moments leading to Rivers' December arrest, police officers found Laura Johnson badly beaten and trying to escape a rental vehicle as Rivers was reaching for a force multiplier. Quote, "I think the criminal justice system in Nashville, Tennessee failed my daughter and our family. The world shouldn't work this way," he told WLOX. She was a really beautiful, super, super smart girl. She had dreams and hopes that were larger than life. Everything she did, everything she touched. So, yeah, this looks like absolute BS, and I really don't get it. I really, really don't get it, and hopefully, the courts of Tennessee can explain what the heck reasoning they used on this, because this is just terrible. Now, we're not saying that this is true. Well, I still think that there was a certain ruler of an island nation that is probably, Trudeau's dad, allegedly. But, Mick Jagger may have also done some, fun times with Trudeau's mom as well. I mean, well, there you go, Trudeau. You might be dealing with a Cartman situation. We're gonna need Maury out here. We have some questions. Mick Jagger is stirring up trouble. The singer, age 80, has recently alluded to the decades-old rumor that he made beautiful music with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's mom, Margaret Trudeau, in the 1970s. During the Stones concert in Vancouver, Canada on July 5th, Jagger said from stage, "We love you, Miss Trudeau," which elicited boos from the audience. I mean, his family has always been such big fans of our band, Jagger added, which many took as a joke about the past rumors. Oh, was everyone too sensitive to, deal with an 80-year-old man making fun of the Trudeaus? Justin's parents, who were married when his mother was 22 and his father was 52, separated in 1977 amid rumors that his mother had skipped the couple's 6th anniversary party to, go hang out with the Rolling Stones after their concert in Toronto. From what I've heard about, his mom, monogamy was never her strong suit, allegedly in Minecraft, okay? I'm just saying. I don't think monogamy was her biggest talent. Margaret, 75, talked about hanging with a famous band in a 2016 interview with Harper's Bazaar. We played dice till about 5 in the morning. No shot in heck. We played Parcheesi, and then we did categories. And do you know Mick Jagger is just great at, strategy? I never knew. Don't play him in Risk. You will always lose. No shot that Mick Jagger was playing freaking Parcheesi. I cannot. Oh, well, we did smoke a bit of dope, talked, and had a good night. It was my new world, but no one knew I was separated from my husband yet, and it brought a huge scandal. Ma'am, you are doggone near 75. You know what? Just tell the daggone truth. I mean, you're 75. Your your late ex-husband has passed on, okay? I mean, just say, "Look, it was Mick Jagger. What do y'all think I did?" Okay? The Canadian activist denied that she slept with, Mick at the time. "I spent the night with the Rolling Stones, no question, but it was certainly not Mick Jagger, and that's all we'll say about that." Um, that seems like the entire rest of the band is up for grabs. Ma'am, you coulda just okay, you go from one spectrum of, like, we played Uno to, "Look, it wasn't Mick Jagger, but there were a couple other bandmates, so we're a little bit fuzzy about what might coulda happened." Pick a lane and stick with it. According to the Daily Beast, Margaret later joked, "At a mental health conference, I should have slept with every single one of them." Mhm. Margaret finalized her divorce from Justin's father, ex to doubt. Well, I mean, not that she divorced Pierre Trudeau, but the whole father bit. Pierre Trudeau, in 1984, he passed away in 2000 at the age of 80. There is no way, look, y'all, as if there is no way that this man, I mean, no, no, no. Jagger similarly denied the rumors that he, did anything more than, a very brisk game of gin rummy with Margaret. He reportedly told the Evening Standard that Margaret was a very sick girl in search of something. She found it, but not with me. I wouldn't go near her with a barge pole. J- Jesus, Mick, you could have just said, "Look, I did not." He's like, "No, that girl was crazy. And I have seen groupies. And she was Amber Heard levels of weird, and I'm used to groupies." So I said, "Oh, hell no." Jesus, Mick Jagger, good lord. Like, look, no, I wouldn't touch her with one of those things they use to scrub cars and stuff and such. I mean, okay, I'm laughing because so basically this is the picture aft after Mick Jagger basically said like, "No, I would not screw your mother. She's a crazy." He's like, "How dare you say that? You of course would love to." Wait a minute, I'm not making a good point. Anywho, I guess we'll never know. The world will never know. And well, possibly in another case of maybe think before you say things, Gabby Petito's father slams Utah police for calling a $50 million lawsuit a quote, substitute GoFundMe campaign. Uh, Gabby Petito's father says Moab still doesn't get it. Possibly with how much bad press that Moab, Utah got, uh, because they seriously ignored, some red flags about this, distress call about DV. You wouldn't say things that would again make you look like utter absolute dill holes. You just think you'd possibly keep your mouth somewhat shutteth and not look like an absolute, you know, jackbutts again. Gabby Petito's father condemned Utah police officers who, in an attempt to throw out his family's $50 million lawsuit against them for their alleged failure to save his daughter, described the suit as a quote, substitute for a GoFundMe campaign. The Moab Police Department demanded the lawsuit be dismissed, refuting claims that their officers failed to act appropriately when they interviewed a distressed Petito on August 12th, 2021, days before she was unalived by her boyfriend, Brian Landry. Quote, Petito's murder is undeniably sorrowful. Laundrie's crime was undisputably depraved, but the judicial system is not a substitute for a GoFundMe campaign, the department wrote in its recently released filing. Well, y'all just keep batting 100 with, your press optics. I mean, absolute ridiculousness. Her father, Josh Petito, slammed the department for believing that his family was after a quick check. Moab still doesn't get it. This case has never been about money, he said in a statement to the Post. It has always been about seeking accountability and fighting for change that will save lives, he added. When law enforcement fails to follow the law, it fails to protect and refuses to learn from its mistakes, like the Moab Police Department, it puts us all at risk. The Petito family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the members of the Moab Police Department in 2022, accusing the officers of not properly investigating the DV dispute between Petito and Laundrie days before her murder. Although an eyewitness of the day of the incident said they saw Laundrie laying hands on his girlfriend, cops deemed Petito the primary aggressor in the dispute, which left her bruised and bloody. The officers never arrested Petito or Laundrie, instead choosing to separate them for the night, leaving Petito in the van the couple had been traveling in while escorting Laundrie to a nearby motel used for DV survivors. One of the cops involved would later admit that Laundrie appeared to be an emotional threat to Petito, describing him as someone with more red flags than a Chinese communist rally. Well, now, police department, I'm not, one of them lawful law lawyers, but this sounds like an admission of guilt to me. I mean, don't take it from me because I haven't finished my Kim Kardashian baby bar, application yet, but seems like, you admitted that you ignored obvious signs that there were potential danger points. The Moab Police Department has denied any wrongdoing, calling on the court to dismiss the case as a matter of established Utah law. Moab Police Department did not cause Petito's engagement to Landry, her decision to remain with him, or her decision to continue driving to Wyoming, or Landry's criminal conduct weeks later, the filing reads. The police department ultimately argued that they were safe from the lawsuit under Utah Governmental Immunity Act, which grants immunity to government agencies in certain cases. In their opposition brief filed Tuesday, however, the Petito family argued that their wrongful death claims were well within the scope of the Utah Constitution, calling on the court to declare the Immunity Act unconstitutional. Doing so will return Utah law to its original understanding and or restore to those within the state the protections intended by Utah's founders. The Parker and McConkey law firm representing the Petitos said in a filing. Yeah, Moab, I understand that you're in CYA mode, but this is just going to be a poop storm for you. You have decided to say things in the most crass way possible and accuse the parents of being out for a check when I guarantee you that, if you had gone back and, actually done something the way you were supposed to do for DV calls, they would much rather have their daughter back. But, I'm just I'm just a Mo, so I could be wrong. In other news, apparently, Hannah Gutierrez Reed just she just sucked out loud, y'all. Just out loud. A live, you know, freedom seed was found in the prop holster or just, regular holster of actor Jensen Ackles. Look, y'all don't come at me. I don't know how to say this man's name. I know he was on Supernatural, but he was what's his name in that thing? Crime scene technician testifies. Now, I didn't watch today, so I don't kn I'm sure this is probably old news for all of you watching the trial today, but in case you weren't able to keep up with stuff, one of multiple live freedom seeds found on the set of Rust by investigators in the 2021 fatal shooting was discovered in the bandolier of actor Jensen Ackles, according to crime scene technician Marissa Papel. Uh, she disclosed the detail while on the stand during the second day of testimony in the involuntary manslaughter trial of Alec Baldwin, nearly 3 years after cinematographer Helena Hutchins, sorry, was fatally shot, as we know. Asked about live rounds of ammunition that were discovered on set, the crime scene investigator said that there were some found on a prop cart, in a box of ammo, and also in two prop gun holsters, one worn by Alec Baldwin and the other by his co star. Mr. Ackles, the other actor on the set, turns out that he, as he acted, as he performed, had a live freedom seed in his bandolier. Yes. And you had so what exactly was Miss Gutierrez Reed doing on set? I mean, I am all confused as to how all of these shenanigans went down on set. Was it like, I don't know, no rules YOLO on set A? Because I don't get it. I don't get how any of this could happen. But I also did not watch today, and who the heck knows? I have to catch up on that later tonight. In our final story, a 205-foot bonfire pyre in Northern Ireland unofficially breaks a world record. Now, as a as an American that's just seen 4th of July, I'm kind of impressed at this. This is the biggest bonfire I guess bonfire fire starter I've ever seen in my entire life. So good job, Ireland. A Northern Ireland town constructed a bonfire pyre measuring more than 205 feet tall, a possible new Guinness World Record. The Craggyville Bonfire Committee in Larne said that the bonfire pyre was measured at 205 feet 6 inches by land surveying firm LSS and 205 feet and 0.269 inches by a second firm, Clifford and Gregg. Either figure would be enough to take the Guinness World Record from a 198-foot, 11-inch bonfire built in 2019 in Austria. Ooh, dang it, now I want a baked potato. I mean, that's a big enough fire for the entire population of Ireland to have a couple baked potatoes, I think. I don't math well, so let's be honest, that's a guesstimate. The committee said that the data from the surveyors is being submitted to the record keeping organization for official recognition. I mean, they're so proud. It probably took them like a solid 2 weeks to build that. I don't know. The massive bonfire pyre made headlines earlier this week when Daredevil Stephen McGinnis parachuted from the top of the structure. The stunt was hailed as the world's first base jump from a bonfire pyre. I mean, why do I have a feeling that my youngest, most feral is gonna say, "Hey, mom, guess what I'm doing right now?" And I'm gonna say, "I don't know. Hopefully, you're going to college." "No, I'm base jumping with a parachute in my backpack off a bonfire pyre in Ireland." And I'm like, "I thought you were at school." I I am seeing this somewhere in my future. That child, I just know he's going to do this. Uh, the pyre, along with several others throughout the country, was built to be ignited Thursday night to celebrate 11th night, the holiday that is the night before the glorious 12th, a traditional celebration marking the victory of the Protestants over the Catholics in 1690 Battle of the Boyne in Ireland. Now, I'm guessing the Catholics don't celebrate this. Do they have a battle with which or when they light big old structures on fire? Or does everyone is it kind of one of those things where it's like a day off of school, so we just celebrate? We're like, "Yeah, we're totally celebrating that today." Well, I hope you guys had a great day and, a good evening, and I will see you guys in the morning. It will be Friday, thank you goodness, uh, and we will have some mornings with Mo, Newsy News, to get your weekend started the right way. So please like, subscribe, share, do all of those YouTubey things. If you are subscribed, make sure just take a quick second to check to see if you're still subscribed. YouTube likes to unsubscribe you without your knowledge sometimes. So I will see you guys in the morning. Have a great evening. Bye, guys.